to be back here.
I didn't say that. That was a pre-recorded message. Yeah.
And it's a wonderful, wonderful initiative that IPN has been doing. We did this last year with you. We're doing it this year with you, and we'll continue to keep doing this. And of course, very important mental well-being and mental health conversations that we need to continue to have, because I think even though as a society I feel that we have been going in a very positive direction when it comes to mental health, there are more conversations happening, different platforms, different organizations for that matter now, schools, corporates. We've also looked at even media, um, you know from various aspects. People have been now talking about mental health. This is something which is really being talked about right now. Not to say that it wasn't existent before. I think if I actually talk about the statistics, they would really alarm you that even in pre-COVID times, we've had these statistics of more than 300 million people across the globe having mental health issues. And yet at this point in time, this is coming to our forefront because we all are struggling with mental health right now. The pandemic that we are in, the fact that it has been so global, it has impacted each one of us, and it has been impacting our mental health. And whether it is any age group, elderly, you, me, and even children for that matter, all age groups, all backgrounds, every gender for that matter, we all are impacted. And impacted in the sense that our normalcy of our day-to-day life, which we sometimes take it for so granted, and going from office to work, sometimes just thinking about what's happening in the traffic, not realizing that how much actually enjoy listening to that music, that 1 hour of music, then when we move from our home to our offices or our schools or dropping our children for that matter, those were times which we would get to sort of actually take care of our mental well-being. At least 15 minutes for me to listen to my music. At least now that my kids are away from home, I have some time for myself. At least now that I'm at office, I don't have to think about my family and my children. All this right now has just gone such a 360-degree change that we all are together, and we've been told to take this extended vacation, which certainly doesn't look like a vacation, but we have to think about it because cognitive perceptions are very important. We have to change our perspective. So we are all at home at this given time. We are in each other's spaces. We are managing multiple roles and responsibilities. We are managing so many things. We also have family members recovering from COVID. We have ourselves also sometimes, either one of you might be recovering from COVID. It's a difficult time that creates a lot of fear. It creates a lot of anxiety. And that, of course, sometimes tend to take a toll on us emotionally, mentally. And that can also, in some way or the other, sometimes reflect in our own actions, in our own behavior, which I think as a parent is important that we are able to recognize and begin to work on when we realize that this is happening to us. Because if I talk about children, I strongly believe children have been able to manage it much better than us. Because if you give children rules to follow, they will follow much better than adults because they will follow it by the book. It'll be like a rule given to them and they will say, okay, fine, I have to follow this. It's we as adults who tend to find a lot of those loopholes, tweaking. Maybe this person is just a few, hands away. I can perhaps take my mask off. I'm not surrounded with too many people. Maybe I can take the mask off. But if you see and look at children, they don't think about these things. For once, when they're told one thing, they are going to follow it. So of course, as adults, I think sometimes we need to learn a lot more from children in that matter. And the other thing that I feel also is that when it comes to resilience, I do feel that yes, our frontline healthcare workers have been one of the most inspiring stories that we are going to keep talking about in years to come. But I also feel that our children have been those little warriors who've been able to stay within their homes, despite not being going to the playgrounds, not being going to the school. Their sense of playfulness and joy that they bring in small things that they do in their day-to-day life, where they drag you to play with them. They want you to have some fun with them. All these things are also part of resilience. We keep talking about children need to learn resilience. I think it's the other way around. We need to learn resilience from them. And I think that these are times where I have learned so many lessons of wisdom from my 8-year-old when I have these conversations with her. And that's exactly what we need to recognize, that our worry about third pandemic coming in is going to impact children, how this long term is going to affect our children. Essentially, for children, it is their immediate environment that matters the most. And as long as parents, we are able to provide them a supportive, conducive, a comfortable environment, children are going to be absolutely fine and resilient, even in these difficult times. What we need to understand that yes, as an adult, the way we have our own anxiety responses, our own reactions sometimes, our own stress levels sometimes that go up, and we tend to react because of that anxiety, fear, and stress, is the same way, even for children, the fact that their normalcy of the day-to-day life has been impacted, where they are not going to the playgrounds to play with their friends, they are not having physical interaction with their peers and friends, they are not being able to go to school with their and meet their teachers and connect with them, although they are connecting online, and I think that's a big boon in the times that we are in. But they can also, because of these changes, have their own ups and downs in moods. They can be a bit more irritable, they can be a bit more snappy, they can be they can have a little more temper tantrums, they may sometimes show some undesired aggressive behavior, but this is all a normal, natural response that children are showing to us in the times that they are in. So if our response to anxiety is in a certain way, for even children, it is their response to the kind of changes they have been going through. And as parent, we need to be that sponge to be able to absorb it, where we don't focus too much on the misbehavior that the child is showing every now and then. Because like I said, it's our calmness, our composure, it's our patience that we are able to sort of give them, even in those difficult times when they are having those mood changes, is going to calm them up. Children are like sponges too. So when they are having something like this, and we tell them, you calm down with the same tone that the child is screaming and yelling, the child will not learn how to calm down. Because it's like, a conflict situation. You are telling them to calm down, but you yourself not calm. How will a child learn what is a calm behavior? So we need to understand the fact that our support, our comfort level that we can provide our children in the given time is something which is very important. And how can you do that? One, we need to really cut down on our prescriptive behavior, which means a lot of do's and don'ts that we end up doing. We come together, we decide on certain rules, and when children don't follow those rules, we actually take them by the hook. You didn't do this, you didn't do this, you didn't do this, and that ends up turning into a nagging behavior. Now what happens is, now the fact that you all are together 24 hours, that turns into an absolute difficult situation where you are saying my child is not listening to me, and the child of course is becoming absolutely withdrawn and rebellious, or is showing their own behavior and as a reaction to what you are doing. So it's important that you take a step back. You be non-prescriptive. Like I said, worry less about the kind of things that children are doing. We need to direct their energies and their behaviors into something which is more exciting, which is more stimulating, which is more positive for them. So for example, if a child is showing some kind of a tantrum behavior or is showing some moodiness for anything that happens, sometimes you don't even know the trigger. When you are so busy, you don't know where this is coming from. And a child will also not be able to recognize where this is coming from because they can't verbalize that, what is happening. All they show is just an emotional reaction. You slowly start talking to the child and direct them into, for example, any kind of a game which is there. Or you pick up a conversation from a story. Or you pick up a conversation about a friend. Or you suddenly say, okay, let's jump in and do something which is exciting. How about play a treasure hunt? How about play a moody? How about play something else? And suddenly you will see there will be a change in the child's behavior. A child needs only few minutes to be able to snap out of their moodiness. Unlike us who tend to brood a lot more, for children, their moment to moment things matter the most. So if we want to do that, we have to learn to control our emotions, our behavior, and jump into Over there, when the child is showing all of these things, not to rescue them from those emotions, but in a creative, fun way, how can you connect with your child? The second thing I feel is that even children can have their own worries, anxieties, questions with so much that they have been hearing about what's been happening. You know, they may be seeing a family member isolated because of COVID. They may sometimes, you know, a lot of you are parent, and if you've gone through a COVID experience, you may be isolating yourself from your child. So these are also times where children may have some worries, some thoughts, concerns, a lot of questions. It's important to also have some communication and conversations around it. You ask them in an open-ended way, that you tell them that you do recognize that something like this happened. Do you have something to ask me? Is this something you've been feeling? Do you have any questions? Is this something you've been thinking? Not in an interrogative way, but give them a safe space to sort of talk about it. Just leave a question or two and then give them the space to talk about it. Let them express. This will give you a cue to know where to go next. If you don't know the answer, you ask another question. And that's when you begin to address. First thing that you need to do in that is you have to be calm yourself. Second thing that you need to do is you need to validate their emotions. Tell them it's absolutely normal, it's absolutely fine. If you were feeling scared, we all can be. If you're feeling anxious, we all are. If you're feeling scared, fearful, that's okay. And then from there, you go on to whatever next that the child brings in. But you need to also have conversations around it. I use stories a lot with my 8-year-old to be able to make sense and meaning of what's happening around us. So, a couple of stories that we've come up in this pandemic. One of the things that I did with her was give her a whiteboard, just drew a few things, virus like a monster, and I just told her to weave a story around it. And she came up with so many things where she actually brought in every element, even people who are not following precautions. She gave them name as Googlies. Googlies are the ones who Google around their way. So she gave that name to them. And then, of course, how the heroes are frontline workers, even young children not going to the playground, but then she's connecting with her friends, she's connecting with her grandparents, she's connecting with her, cousins. And this is the way how children learn to redirect their worries into positive ways. When you give them a blank sheet to express and you just be a facilitator, a child naturally is able to also go from this direction to this direction, from feeling worried to actually seeing something more positive. And this is what we need to use, the language of storytelling with our children, to be able to help them understand what's happening. And there are multiple stories which I'm going to keep on talking about. But I think essentially, our role as a parent is to be a facilitator in the ongoing time period where we have to be role models. This is the time where we keep on talking about so many values to inculcate in our children. This is the time to show it to them, that how to practice it. Values is not something that should be preached. It's something that needs to be practiced. It's something that needs to be followed. And if we continue to align it into our actions, children are going to imbibe it. In the last 10 years, somewhere we've gone wrong, where despite being so connected, we were all so disconnected in our own way, where we continue to see that, how we all had a question in our own mind, how humanity is going to play around. And now we are seeing so many stories of hope and resilience and people coming out to help each other. These are stories on which children are going to thrive in future generations. And these are stories that we need to continue to weave. So you extend your support, you extend your compassion, you reach out to your friends, your families, your alumni. You also encourage children to do it, all age groups, from younger to even young adolescent. And in fact, for adolescent, this is even more difficult time because of a lot of uncertainty around examinations and career, that it's only natural for them to also have a certain sense of cynicism towards life in the given time. And it's important that this is the time where we act as pillars for them. And we show them that meaning in life comes from so many other things and not just academics. Your strength comes from your support systems. Your strength comes from your skills. Your strength also comes from, simple things that you do in your day-to-day life. These are your survival skills right now. Whether you pick up a hobby, whether you have your interest and you do that, whether you do, any small thing in your day-to-day life right now, all of those things have meaning. Just in the morning, I was talking to this young group of, uh, students in college, and I could sense that, somewhere there was this so much restlessness and the sense of meaninglessness that was coming in life. And from there went on to the conversations of how hope is something that can always be built. Civilizations get destructed even in the past, but hope is something that gives us that sense of realism, that yes, we can move forward and we can rebuild, we can recreate. And this comes only when we all come together as support systems. So our first stage in the given time period is our support systems. When I hear these stories of young children, reaching out to their elderly friends, slightly elder age group friends who they would play in the playground, and they're now trying to connect. They heard one of them got COVID, and then they call them just to check on them, how they are doing. What they're learning is just an entire change in the nourishment, warmth, care, and relationships. So what we would talk about earlier, that, the selfies were taking over, I don't see them anymore. And it's such a wonderful change. Apart from, of course, the vaccinations that we all we all felt that yes, we need to encourage more people to take vaccinations. So that's something that we should and we must share. But that was also in a way to encourage more and more people that come out and take this vaccination. That's important. But we've gone out of the selfie from more of a sense of, togetherness, connectedness, where young people are sharing information on where you can get what, cylinder you can get here, beds you can get here. And these are young people who are trying to share this information, trying to go out and support their peers. And that's what we need to continue to encourage them to do, because this is going to be a lifelong learning. So worry less about the conventional way of education that they were getting till now, because these are important life lessons that they're getting in the given time period. And it's going to be a learning for them for the lifelong to build a resilient future. And that's exactly what they're doing. We need to just keep on supporting them. We need to show that confidence that yes, you are being resilient by doing all of these things, by taking one day at a time. And that's what we need to also do. All of us are staying together in 24 hours. Of course, we are going to have our own frictions too. In your own mind, you might be thinking so many things. Of course, you may not want to share it with your partner or somebody else in the family, but bring that into the element of humor. When you're having those frictions, when you're having those fights, make sure that you go back on the element of fun and joy and bringing humor in your day-to-day life. That you should never lose. And that's what children teach us. That sense of playfulness, that sense of joy. Please keep on continuing that in your day-to-day life, in relationships. That will help you have less friction in your relationship. It will also give you a different perspective to look at each other. You are looking at each other's lives, where you would be out and you are now together who are seeing who does how, and how you manage your day-to-day life. It's time to show that respect. It's time to come together to support each other. And of course, like I said, humor, playfulness should always be going in. And resilience to me has been, which we all have, it's just that every time a challenge or an obstacle comes in your life, it's only a matter of, you stepping up in your own resilience process. So for us, it's, the quiet strength that we continue to keep, following, the goodness that we should never lose despite whatever happens. The belief in our own strengths, in our own skills, the trust that we can have that, yes, I can overcome this with the help of my support system whenever I need, because you cannot overcome an obstacle without your support system at any given point in time. Sometime or the other, you would need some support system or the other, whether it is your friend, whether it is your mentor, whether it is your family, they will always be there. So that when you look back, you have that sense of surprise. Yes, I could overcome. And that's exactly what I was talking to my younger one yesterday or day before. And that's where I'm going to end. where I was talking to her about, life lessons from a bee, honeybee. So just imagine that somebody tickled a big beehive and all the bees are around us right now. And that's exactly what we are doing. We are trying to protect ourselves from being stung by those bees. And which is why we are all within our homes, protecting ourselves. But at the same time, we also need to recognize that there is honey. And life is always going to give you those moments to, taste that honey. So for you, those moments of joy is when you're praying with me, when you're playing with your friends, when you're talking to them, when you're talking to your grandparents, whenever you feel sad, just tell me what do you want to do in one of these things. This is what your honey is. And whenever you feel sad, whenever you feel pain, just remember, of course, you can be also stung. And you can use the same honey to, be able to manage your pain, to be able to manage your moods. You may feel sad sometimes, you may feel upset sometimes, you may feel that you're missing your friend sometimes. So reach out, you tell me what you want, and we'll do that. And I think that this is the life lesson. While I was talking to her, I also realized it for myself that so many times we just focus so much more on the negativity around us that we almost forget simple small moments of joy that we can continue to have even in these difficult times. And we must just continue to keep doing that. So I'm opening the floor to questions.
Absolutely. In fact, I personally feel what I was listening. In fact, we met Mimasa almost like 8 or 9 months ago, and what I really feel good about the fact is that she had the similar energy when she was speaking about this the last year, and she has a similar, I would say, rigor to it when she speaks us to today. So having said this, while we interact with our young ones, and she very wonderfully pointed out that if we want to teach them a certain type of behavior, we have to first display ourselves the similar sort of traits of that behavior. I am also a father to two young daughters. So one is of 8 and the other one is 6. And I will begin with a question, which is my own personal question. I'll be selfish. I'll utilize my time and I'll be the first one to go, which is that now they have been honestly watching a lot of television and a lot of screen time. And that's where my reservation comes. But at the same time, I really do not have much alternative that wherein put them out, whatever. And they are they're lovely girls. I mean, they're very obedient, everything put together. So one is that how do we constructively, because I'm just taking that liberty, and I'm sure that there are parents in this gathering who will be dealing with an adult kid as well, which is something who is in their adolescence or a teenage. But in my case, it's because it's about someone, which is of this age bracket. What is the best alternative of constructively involving them apart from the screen time, if I have to really give them an alternative?
Yeah. See, two things I recognize is that one, we also need to recognize our own limitations in the given time. So when we are managing multiple things and we want them to be invested, a lot many times, child may also be a little clueless in what to invest and they just go on the screen. And it's something that we also end up doing. A lot many times we don't know how to utilize even of those 5-10 minutes that I have, rather than just sitting and relaxing and just breathing in and out. We actually end up going on our phones to check messages or a next information or any next news, or maybe on social media for that matter. So I think it's the same thing that children also end up doing. One, I personally have given up actually on worrying on screen time a lot more, because I feel this is transient. This will take care of its own time. I also see it, when I am, and this weekend I'm actually at my in-laws' house, because we wanted change, they wanted change, and we wanted to obviously meet together. And we've had our enough quarantine period to be able to feel safe to be meeting them. And I see my daughter has completely forgotten the screen time. She's out in the morning at 7 a.m. She enters home at 7 in the evening. So, we worry that your children will perhaps take on this particular habit of screen time. But I feel the moment this is going to change, they're actually going to feel that, enough of that, we need to actually go out and connect and do whatever that we can, because for them, innate thing is to play, to be on the outdoors. And I do believe that, we may forget the joy of being in the outdoor, perhaps, and I hope it doesn't happen. I hope that we still feel the sense of joy when we move outdoors. But for children, they're not going to lose it like that. That's one thing. The other thing, yes, yet how can we direct their energies into more constructive ways? Simple things, whether it's reading book, whether it is for young children, it could be very fun, creative, small ways. It doesn't have to be very complex. Sometimes tell them, okay, why don't you pick up some utensils and make some music? Let them make some noise. Doesn't matter. Give them some, words. Say you make a story and you come back to me. Think about a story and you come and you narrate it. Even in between your work, have those 5, 10 minutes of playtime with them. In between my sessions, I do 10 minutes of treasure hunt with my daughter. So in between her class and my sessions, we have this 5 minutes treasure hunt. Sometimes we have this 5 minutes of something else. So it's just in different ways how we are able to engage children. Not too much time. We're managing too many things. And for adolescent, it's about connection. I think they really need to connect more with friends and peers. So encourage them to have more virtual calls than social media connection. Have conversations around it. Ask them what's happening in their friend circle, because I think they are struggling a lot in that space. We need to have more conversations about what's happening in your friend circle. How well are you connected? Is there something? Because I think, given the fact they're not in the physical space, and a lot of conversation is happening through WhatsApp message or Instagram and all of those things, you will find one child or the other is feeling that sense of left out, or that perhaps there is something that has changed in the relationship dynamics, and we need to really address that.
Thank you very much. So basically now, dear parents or whosoever, which is even educators who are with us, we are now opening up the house for question and answers. You'll have to show me a virtual show of expression, which is either a thumbs up this way, right? So then we'll help you unmute and then you can ask your question. Shabina ji, we'll begin with you. Please go ahead. You'll have to unmute. Ji.
Thank you. Can you all hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, we can hear you.
I've got two kids. One is 7 years old and one is 5 years old. Now, the problem which I'm facing is that my son has become very aggressive. If I tell him to keep the phone, he gets very aggressive and very possessive about the phone. And these days, since they have online classes, they are used to using either my laptop or the mobile phone. And when I try dissuading him, then they tell me that when we have our online classes, you very nicely give us the phone. But now when I want to play, you're not giving, mommy, you are being very unfair. So at times it's a bit difficult, especially the aggression. Like if I take away the phone, right, at times he gets very aggressive. Thank you so much. If ma'am could answer that, how to tackle that kind of a situation.
Where are you based, ma'am? Shabina ji?
I'm based out at Calcutta.
Okay.
My daughter is a student of Loreto Elliott Road.
Correct.
That is how I got to attend.
Most welcome. Yeah.
Okay. So yes, Ms. Akhtar, I think that's something that most parents are facing in the given time as a difficult behavior and a challenging behavior to manage with children. Like I said, I think we need to understand that this is the time where we all are connecting through digital interface. So even for children, like we use it to connect with friends, we use it to work, we use it to also have our source of entertainment. For children also, it's the same thing. So where their source of entertainment, which has of course changed a lot more, not going to the playgrounds, not meeting their friends, sometimes they may want to have their entertainment time on phone or on iPad or laptop, desktop for that matter, to just either watch some videos, play on a certain app, play on a certain game. Try and decide on a time. Once that time is over, you calmly, even the child may have a certain behavior, you calmly take the phone away and you just be assertive to say that this is what we decided. I understand it's absolutely okay. You may feel upset about it, but we'll do something else. Let's think what we can do. And you let the child calm down, but you have to be very calm and patient when you're doing this. That's important. Don't engage in any kind of a struggle, conflict situation where it turns into a you and I kind of a thing. Just Stick to the point. Very calmly you say, give me the phone back. We decided on 1 hour. Your time is up. And now let's do something else. Child will say no. I said they are having their own mood changes. It's normal response for them. You don't have to get upset on it. You ignore it, direct the child's attention and behavior to something else. But at the same time, less worry about the screen time right now.
Yeah. Next one is GEC, Global Education Center. You'll have to unmute.
Hi, very good afternoon.
Go ahead.
So, my name is Mukesh, and I am a parent of my kid Ansh, who is studying in BLS World School. And in my case, my situation is a little bit different. So I just wanted to ask this question to ma'am. And before that, it was really a good session, ma'am. So definitely you highlighted, the points definitely which was mandatory for we kind of parents. And thanks to BLS school also for organizing this kind of event. Hope in future also you'll keep these things on. My situation is that I'm not in India. I'm in abroad, and my son and my wife is there at home. So again, the same thing is happening. That keeping him engaged, even if we do all the stuff, like we have kept the screen time very low, and my wife, she is engaging with a lot of activities of some art and craft and this treasure hunt kind of thing. We have given him some toys, some creative toys like Lego and all those things, so that at least we can engage him. But at the same time, what happens? It's a challenge to do all those things throughout the day, because we have our own work. I sometimes spare some time to speak to him and all those things, but still it's a challenge for us. So what would you suggest, ma'am, in this regard? Am I lagging somewhere else? Do I need to do something else which I'm missing it out at this point of time? So I just want to hear it something on this. Thank
No,
you.
I think it's just we need to recognize the limitation of the time period that we are in. That's all. You just have to accept that yes, these things are going to happen. Sometimes you may have a doubt that whether I'm doing or going in the right direction, but you're doing absolutely fine. Like I said, your child is going to show some of these behaviors sometimes. And even for one parent to manage all of this can also be even more challenging. So if there can be any more support systems that can be engaged over at that point in time, even if it's through screen. If your child connects with you, child connects more with grandparents, have some story time with grandparents, cousins, any of those things. That's absolutely okay. And which is why I'm saying again and again that screen time is something we need to worry less. Let them have more fun conversations, connect with their families, friends, distant, whoever that they can. And also recognize, as parents, you really need to go easy on ourselves in the given time. We can't be the best of everything when the times are not the best. So that's very important.
Thank you. Thanks.
Next sequence of question, I'm just spelling out. Miss Sunita will be next. Siddharth Kulkarni. After that, Neha Joshi, Neeta Garg will be the next 3 to 4 questions. Miss Sunita, over to you. And it will be helpful if you can just give us a basic city or a introduction of yours. Where are you from? That will help us. Sunita ji, over to you. You'll have to unmute.
Yeah, good evening, sir. So actually, it's a sensitive issue. I have a small doubt. My sister's son is 12 years now. So we are 4 sisters, and our younger sister is not married yet. And I have 2 kids. My sisters have two kids. We all went for summer vacation to my mother's house. There I observed one thing, that my sister's son, who is 12 years old, when all were sleeping, he tried to touch the breast of my younger sister. So why he has that interest, or where he is affected, I didn't get it. Actually, my sister is very shy to talk about this to him. So just my younger sister warned him that you should not do that. That's it we closed there. We didn't make any further discussions about it. So actually, how to overcome this? I want to know.
So I think one, for young children to explore body parts, and even the fact that they see that there are changes that happen in body parts for a man and a woman, they can have their own curiosity as well. And also, given the fact that the media is around so much, sometimes they may also been or have been exposed to something or the other that might have just generated some curiosity. It's always good to sort of first address your anxiety around the thing and recognize that you have to take it in a more educational way. So you sit with the child, you talk to the child very calmly. You ask them that, do you have any questions? Is there something you've ever seen, something that you would like to share me? And be very calm and open. I mean, the child should feel that this is like an opening conversation rather than my parent is interrogating on me or is going to now next scream and scold me. That's very important. You do that. Then you pick up a particular chart or paper and you start talking to the child about this. Then you also talk to the child about what are certain areas of the body which are private and why are they called private. So when you look at swimming costume that we wear, we cover these areas because this is just completely yours and this is just completely somebody else. So we don't, engage in any of this without anybody else's consent, or we don't talk about it, we don't touch it, we don't let anybody else also touch it. And that's how we talk about safe and unsafe touch with children. We must begin to talk about safe and unsafe touch with children as young as 3 years, 4 years. That's very important because this might also happen to any young child. This may also happen to him for that matter. So it's important that we bring in that element of education and we talk about safe, unsafe touch. We also talk about safe and unsafe touch in the form of, telling them that when it comes to touch, when you put something, press something like this, it's painful or it's something which is uncomfortable. So comfortable, uncomfortable, helping them recognize what is comfortable and what is uncomfortable, even in the form of touch, not just pain, but comfort and discomfort is also something that needs to be a differentiating factor for them. So that's how you approach this topic.
Yeah, thank you.
Siddharth Kulkarni, your question, please. Siddharth, you there? Ms. Neha Joshi? Ms. Neha Joshi, you'll have to unmute and then ask your question, please. Yeah.
Namaskar. Maybe many working mothers will link themselves with this question. I'm a mother of 7-year-old who is studying in DIS at School Delhi, and as a teacher, and I'm a teacher in CRPF Public School Dwarka. I know that this session is about the kids, but I'm feeling very hopeless as a mother because I'm unable to give 100% to my kid as other parents are giving. I'm not talking anything against the homemakers. I really appreciate their efforts. But as a working parent, we both, I and my husband, are unable to give 100% to my kid. And somewhere I feel that because of us, my child is lagging behind. So is this the feeling is okay, or I have to do something else? I'm really very much confused. If you can help me.
So I would begin by saying that there is nothing called 100%, and that's what we need to recognize. If you keep on expecting perfection out of you in any role that you're in, you will somewhere begin to feel I may be lagging somewhere. What you need to recognize that children, and this could also be as parents, that we end up feeling a certain kind of a peer pressure, where we begin to compare ourselves as parents in a role that we are in. And that in itself can also be a deterrent to your own parenting role. Because somewhere or the other, that pressure is going to come in your communication, in your interaction, in your expectation with your child. So there is nothing called a perfect parent or a non-perfect parent. It's the parenting. We need to recognize the process. It's the relationship. So I'm a working mother too. I'm a parent right now working from home, but I start early in the morning. And at this point in time, like everybody else, we are doing our household work also because of the lockdown. We don't have help. We don't have, a lot of us are staying away from our families. Joint family system was so much better. I grew up in a joint family where we used to be 10 of us who would stay in one home. So, which kid is going to whom was something that, I would go to my uncle or I would go to my grandparent or sometimes my parent. There were so many people to go to. In today's time, it's just hardly one or two people that the child can go to. So sometimes we as a parent can also feel that pressure that I have to keep on constantly engaging my child and give the right answer, give the right means. Try and not to do that. Few moments and whatever time that you spend with your child, you just ensure that you are attentive, you're having meaningful conversation, you're engaging well, whatever you're playing with your child, that is very important. And you have to also take care of your own mental health. Please don't get into any comparisons.
Pranit, your question? You'll have to unmute. Pranit.
Just a second. This is his mother actually.
Please go ahead.
Yeah, ma'am has mentioned that we should set a time limit for video games or screen time, means especially for recreation. But like if the child does not stick to it or does not at all listen and totally ignores his or her studies or physical exercise, meal times, etc., then how should we handle that? Please, if you could elaborate on that.
Are we talking about Pranit?
I would like to ask in general, that is, which is a common complaint of most mothers.
Absolutely, this is the same thing. I ask the same thing with Mimaansha. Over to you. Yeah.
So I think, as parents, we need to do some of these things with our children. So in the evening, decide on a time where you together are going to do yoga or maybe Zumba, or maybe, play some song and just start dancing on it. Together, you decide as a family, this is the time where there is no screen time. We're going to do anything else but screen time. So you put your phones aside. You, don't engage in anything else, but together have some playtime. So a lot many times children need that hand holding. It's a process. You've told them to change something today. It's not going to change tomorrow or day after or the fourth day. It's going to take its own time. And you have to give your child that kind of a space and time to be able to do it. So you also continue to do that with your child. Whatever you decide, you help them initiate. And like I said, in any case, in your daytime also, you have to do these things. So आपको जो करना है तो आप अपने बच्चे के साथ करो और कुछ टाइम के लिए इसको कंसिस्टेंटली करो ताकि उसकी हैबिट भी बन जाए.
Next set of questions, and we will, Marsha, we'll conclude this at sharp 6 o'clock. So we have 15 minutes more to go. Kushal, your question?
Yes, sir. Actually, I am aunt of Kushal, and recently his father passed away, and he is very, not listening to anyone, and he want to do what he want to do, and we are not supposed to let him stop for anything, for playing games on mobile and for anything. Let me play, and I will not eat anything until you will not give me phone, and like this. So how we could stop him? And he only listens to his father, and now he is no more. So how we can stop him to doing these things?
Grief is a very difficult experience for us and even so for children. A child may show grief as a process of grief in very different ways. So for example, at one time they may be very playful, at the other time they may just direct their attention and energy so that they don't think about certain things or they don't think too much about what they are missing by just completely immersing themselves in things like this. What you need to do is give him absolute comfort without, putting too much pressure in terms of what he needs to change right now. You have to give him time and space. Even as families, you need to give each other that time and space. Normalcy is something that should be ensured, that whatever you would do in your day-to-day activities and how the house was running earlier, you should be able to maintain that. But apart from that, whatever the child is right now showing, let him be. Have some conversations, engage in a little more that care, nourishment, and warmth that we give children by hugging them a little more, by just showing them our love in different ways. Sometimes asking them that, you can always come and talk to me if there is something that you're missing. आप अगर कुछ मिस कर रहे हो, आप कुछ बात करना चाहते हो, आराम से मेरे से आके बात करो. कभी कभार अपनी बात शुरू करना कि मुझे भी अभी ऐसा लग रहा है कि मैं आई एम मिसिंग हिम, and from there the child will also talk about that. So this is the time where you all have to just go through that, brief experience, and the child also needs to have that space to be able to go through it.
Lokashri, Lokashri, you'll have to unmute, please. Yeah. Please go ahead. We'll go to Shivani in the meanwhile. Shivani Vashisht.
Very good afternoon to sir and ma'am. Am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible. Please go ahead.
Yes. Like from dawn to dusk, I'm facing very hectic schedule with so many roles and responsibilities, being a teacher and a student also of PhD, and a mother also to a 5.5-year-old daughter. So I although try to engage her while I'm having my classes, to engage her in some activity sort of, but sometimes she has developed a habit of thumb sucking, and I'm feeling it very hard to separate her from that habit. So what should I incorporate more, and how can I engage more with her to I feel that this is very crucial stage for her, and I don't want to ignore her due to my responsibilities. So how can I overcome this?
Encourage her to talk more. I feel that I don't know if you are staying together in a big family, or is it just the 2 3 of you. Sometimes children, when they have their anxieties and they don't know how to express it, so that's it comes in different manifestation of different behaviors. One thing that I do feel is going to be an absolute first aid for children is, please encourage them to connect with their grandparents.
Fine.
Ask them to have more conversations with them, because in those conversations, sometimes when my mother calls me and tells me that this is what she shared, I'm sometimes even amused and even shocked that a child can also think and talk about in those spaces, which they may actually be scared to talk to a parent, because unknowingly, even though we may give them an unconditional space and things like that, the kind of a bond that the child gets from a grandparent of unconditional support, unconditional security, no matter how much we try as parents, because we are also those people who are trying to regiment them. Grandparents are not trying to do that. So the connection that children tend to actually build with grandparents is absolutely beautiful. So encourage her to perhaps have a little more virtual calls with grandparents or more conversations with grandparents, her friends. And even outside of that, you don't have to tell her each time that, see, again, you're thumb sucking. All you can do is just, while even just talking to them, very softly, calmly, ask her to do something that makes her take her hand out from her mouth and do something with her hands. And even in between, if it happens, that you ignore.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Mr. Ajay Purohit.
Good evening, sir and ma'am. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, sir. Actually, first of all, I'm a teacher as well as a parent of two daughters. My problem is, sir, generally we were making our kids away from the screen, means whether it is a mobile or laptop or iPad something, and now we are forcing them to be available or to use mobile gadgets. And now the problem is the summer vacations are on, and my kids are not taking interest in reading books or something, the storybooks I have arranged for them, as they are not allowed to go out. but their condition is that whenever there is online classes, you make us to join the classes on mobile, on laptop, on whatever the gadgets. And now you are forcing me to read the books. And so the condition is set by them that if you want us to read something, we'll read on screen, not the books. So that's the problem. I think the same maybe the problem of many parents. So how can we help them, or what can be the response?
That's actually $1 million question. There's a huge bargain these days which is going on. I have to
Yeah,
also.
sir.
Right. So that's happening, and I think digital interface has just entered our lives in a way that we can't even do. We don't know what to do with it. So of course, I think, like I said, even our own behaviors, we need to practice disengaging, create a family ritual that for 2 hours, none of us are going to be on screen. And in that time, it may be very difficult initially in terms of trying to even find out what to do. 1 hour, 2 hour, whatever you think is feasible, you start with that as a family ritual. The rest of the times, don't talk too much about screen. Don't talk about how much you are doing, how much they are doing, who is doing what. But just involve this, just one family ritual that you can maintain. That every day, this time to this time, we all are going to either have conversations, do something else, but we are not going to either one of us touch our mobiles or something, and you put it inside. And apart from that, I've been saying, ignore screen time worry. Ignore screen time worry for the time being.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you,
Srivatsa
ma'am.
Narayan. Srivatsa Narayan. Mr. Srivatsa Narayan, you'll have to unmute, sir. Please, there's some issue. Shushmita ji. Shushmita Dikshit.
Good evening, everyone. Sir, I'm from Ayodhya, associated with the school. And my observation is that nowadays the kids are not at all listening to the instructions given. Like if you will say that no one will answer, I will ask a question from the child I want to. But in spite of these several instructions, I think just because of the competition around them, they are in haste and they never care for such instructions, and they keep on answering the question, whatever they are having the answers with. So I just want to understand that how we can arrest this problem.
So part of the answer lies in your question, actually. If you are having too many instructions, that's where we are going wrong. So try and cut down on our instructive method to communicate with them. That's very important. Choose on what aspects do you want to talk to them that you want to change. We can't change them on a lot of many things. If we end up doing that, we will end up becoming very nagging as a parent. It'll only increase our disconnection with them. We are talking about building more connection with our child. So, connection would come over behavior correction at this point in time and even otherwise. I think it's very important that we recognize if we are actually becoming too much instructive in our own communication, we need to reduce and cut down on it.
Jyoti Yadav.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, ma'am. It was a fantastic session. We have learned a lot of things, how to take care of the child. I have basically 2 children, a girl and a boy. A girl is 4 years old and a boy is 1 year old. And I'm very facing difficult situation. How to have patience, how to keep patience while keeping both of them right parenting, doing right parenting. For example, to teach girl at a time and to grow up 1 year old child also. So I just want to ask ma'am, so how to keep more patience and teach girl online through her video classes. Thank you.
You're absolutely on the right track, ma'am. आप अपना करते रहें. It only comes in with more experiences and we just continue to be aware कि हाँ ये moment आया है, मुझे इसमें थोड़ी patience दिखानी है. Patience से आती है. तो आप जो है learn कर रहे हैं वो एक बहुत ही important live lesson है. I think हमारे बच्चे हमारे को ज़्यादा patience सिखाते हैं in our lifetime than anybody else. So and that's when we also become actually better role models, because we realize that how our children are watching us all the time, more than we are watching them. So I think that's absolutely okay with what you're doing. So nothing to worry about it.
Yeah, Neeta Garg, your question, ma'am.
Good evening, all.
Evening.
Yes, good evening, all. It's an awesome session that's going on. I am based in Kanpur, and I'm a teacher at Virendra Swaroop Cant in Kanpur. And my question is basically like, your session is about mental well-being, right? And being happy in life, right? Like we as a couple, me and my husband, we have always tried in this one and a year time to go according to what all you had been saying, whether it is regarding the screen time, whether it is regarding having a family time, or the other things that you had been telling all the while during the session. And I felt happy that I, as a parent, am able to do a bit of what is actually the mode in which a parent has to act during this pandemic time. Now, my question is actually not regarding my child, but regarding me. I am a mother who has actually lost her own mother. Now, my mental health is not that way that I'm able to behave in a normal way. All these, like, it's almost a month now, but I'm still not able to behave in a manner I should behave with my children. My son is 19 and my daughter is 12. But I still, they understand, they are understanding my emotional moment, but still I, as a parent, I feel I'm failing in these 1.5 month time, where I'm not able to communicate with them the way I had been doing all the while from last 1.5 years. So can you please guide me in that?
You're not failing them at all. I think what you're showing them is a normal human experience.
Okay.
Grief is a normal human experience, and that's what
yeah, it is. Yeah.
It's so, and that's exactly what your children are learning from you. That despite being that positive, optimistic, energy parent that you've been in the last 1.5 years, this is a difficult time for you as well. And it's only normal for you to also sometimes show those difficult emotions that sometimes children may hesitate to show. And I think, in their own way, they will be able to learn from this experience too. So you give yourself time. That's what is important. You recognize the importance of your mental well-being in the given time that you are in. You give yourself some space to be able to go through your own emotional experiences. Talk to your, other siblings, your husband, even your children sometimes. That grief can be a difficult experience, and even if you have some memories sometimes that you're thinking about, share it with them. I think grief, as families, when we come together and we share this grief process, it becomes a lot more easy for us to manage. And if you still feel you're struggling, please don't hesitate to reach out to a mental health expert if you like.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
Sanvi Mutreja. Sanvi, we'll have to unmute.
Yeah, good evening all. Ma'am, my question is, I have two daughters, one 15 years and one 11 years. But in today's pandemic scenario, they are sleeping late at night at around, you can say 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and they are waking up late, like 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning. If I tell them to sleep early and wake up early, but they say that, Mom, we are not feeling sleepy, we cannot sleep. I said, ki one day it will happen that if you wake up early and then you will sleep at night also at early time. But they say, hame neem hi nahi aati, what can we do? We cannot do anything. Like, how can I tackle them and how can I make them sleep early at night?
See, one, I feel this is part of the age as well. But despite that, I mean, how we generally talk to children about this, young kids, is that, we are going against our biological clock, and how, my colleague says, we end up becoming biological idiots in that sense. So, sometimes when you put the same thing in a very different way, children are able to connect with it. But at the same time, I think it's important to also address as to what they may be going through, because this is a problem that as adults, even children are also facing. Not being able to sleep because of lack of physical energy, not being able to sleep because of, lack of physical exercise, sorry. And even the fact that there isn't much that's happening during the day, so the energy is not so expended so much. and you end up thinking so much more, even while you're going down to sleep, that you end up spending a lot of time in just unnecessary things. You can help them. One, use some mindfulness sleep meditation music where you put it in the background. You all go off to sleep at a certain time for some time, and encourage them to use that. That does help in sleep. The other thing that you can also add to their sleep zoning in time is encourage them to take a bath before going off to sleep. Ask them to read a book before going off to sleep. If there is any screen that they are using before sleep, tell them that the rule from now on, you tell the time that you would give us the phone, and from there on, we will take that away, because that also becomes an interfering factor in our sleep. And we are also, as adults, as parents, are also going to put it away in our cupboards, because we recognize it's a very normal, natural tendency to scroll it when we are not feeling sleepy. So this part also part of media literacy.
They feel like we are restricting them. They think that there is a restriction to them, why we cannot use it. They talk to their friends at around 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock. Like, she's also not sleeping, we are also not sleeping. What can we do? Time pass karna hai, like that.
Yeah, and you address it slowly. I mean, one doesn't have to go all, even telling them this is the right thing to do, and we end up becoming preachy in our own way. You recognize the humanness of the fact that this is something that I also struggle with as a parent. Yeah, I mean, there are times where I also want to talk to my friend at 12 because I can't sleep. But then, for how long can one do it? Then this will also become another challenge, that you're becoming bored with this also. Then you will go on to, there's no end to this. How about we do some basic things? And yes, there is a challenge. Take this as a challenge that you have to take it as a part of a family value system. We all have different value systems in the family that we follow. Let's try and do this. You may feel a little resistant to it initially, but eventually you may like it. Let's try and experiment with it for next 10 days, 1 month, things like that. And then slowly and steadily, we will continue to reinforce it.
And one more question, ma'am. Ma'am, I have a daughter in class 10. She's 15 years. I want to know, is this the right time to talk to her for her career, or?
Talk to her about the career?
Yeah.
She's in grade 10th, right? If I'm not wrong, 9th or 10th?
Class 10, yeah.
So let her think about it. I mean, if she has any questions, worries, she'll always come to it. You can always let her know if she has any doubts, confusions. That's absolutely normal. Everyone would have, even if you are in class 12, you may have the same confusions. You can come to us, you can talk to us, we'll help you, we'll guide you. That's it.
Okay. Thank you.
Himanshu, only if you allow, there are 3 more questions to be taken up. Okay. If you say we should stop, we should stop.
No, that's okay.
Yeah, so we'll take up these final 4 questions. Radhika, Geeta Sharma, Srivatsa Narayan, and Miss Mini, right? Miss Radhika, over to you. You'll have to unmute, ma'am.
Yeah. Hello, ma'am. I have 2 kids. One is in grade 12. She wants to be a clinical psychologist. So I just wanted to know if you'd like to take any session on children who are interested, because there are many psychology students here in Fountainhead, Surat. And second is for my son, who is 13-year-old. And he's always, he hesitates to learn something. It's very difficult to motivate him, even for basic daily things. Like if he doesn't get showered, so he can't do head bath. And such minor, small things, he won't try to learn the subject which is not interested, even if taught in different ways. So how to help them out in this scenario?
Okay, so for the first one, we are enrolling clinical psychology internship for grade 10th, 11th, and 12th students, which will be taken by Dr. Parekh. And these are absolutely fun sessions. If you heard him, you would know, children always love to hear him. So you can always enroll your kids. This is going to happen from July 1st to July 7th. And it's absolutely free of cost. We don't ever charge parents, children, schools for any workshops that we do. So this is an internship that is happening for 1 week, starting from 1st July. You'll find all the information on our Fortis Mental Health Instagram page. We've uploaded, just today we've uploaded the link and the details. For the second question, some children can have their own difficulties to transition from one activity to the other, because they can feel that the structure that they follow has to be a certain way. With these children, you have to be very slow, steady, where you don't push, because if you will push, they will push back with double force. You ask them the right questions in the way, what do you think will help you to move from this to now this? What do you think your fear may be? What do you think your worry may be? And you can use again different mediums to talk to them about this. Sometimes pick up your own life stories that, you feel scared and you felt scared at that time to do something like this, but when you actually did it, it helped you. So different ways, we have to just pick teaching moments for children to learn from. But for a child like this, one, ensure that you take one thing at a time. Too many changes he may not like. So you pick up only a few, prepare him a little beforehand that, this is what we're going to do, so that slowly and steadily he may get into the habit of, preparing himself mentally, and then slowly going on to the aspect of being spontaneous about some of these changes.
Okay, Geeta Sharma. Ms. Geeta Sharma, your question.
Namaskar, I'm Geeta from Lucknow. I'm a teacher working in Modi School, Rajasthan. I have a question. It becomes a problem as a teacher for me when children are facing some issues and they are not ready to open up with it. And somewhere it becomes like a hindrance in their education or somewhere in their growth. So how to deal with those students or children where, we can provide them the comfort zone that they can come up with their problems if they have anything, they can share the issues. So how, what kind of solutions can be given to them, or how could we deal with those children?
So I think it's a very natural human behavior again to come out with certain things that you may feel a bit shy about, or you may feel it's difficult to share. If we actually look back in our own times also, there are times where we would talk to our parents or teachers, but we would take our own time. One thing that will always let a child come back, whether it is a little in a delayed form or, for some children, they come out to you early, is going to be how to manage it the first time when a child comes to you for the problem. So if you are calm, if you are welcoming, if you are non-judgmental, if you are saying, oh, I am glad that you brought this up, and if you are not being very advisory in your own conversation, you're listening more to be able to understand what the child is going through, that is going to be a differentiator. So when you do this more and more, children begin to feel more and more connect, and then they open up a lot more in terms of what they're going through.
Hey, Shri, what's your question?
Yes, ma'am. I am a student studying class 9th.
Yeah,
Ma'am,
go ahead.
sometimes I feel, ma'am, during this pandemic years, my academics have gone very low. And ma'am, sometimes I feel like very much demotivated, very negative thoughts come in my mind. So what can I do to?
Okay. Have you learned some more things apart from academics in this given time period? Have you learned something to do with your hobbies? Have you learned something to do with maybe picking up an instrument to play, new instrument to experiment with, maybe a new books that you've read, or anything else for that matter that you enjoy in your day-to-day life? I think those are going to be.
Ma'am, I enjoy listening to music and I have a hobby to sing also.
Wonderful. So I think what you need to recognize right now is that what you are learning is the most important life skill right now, which is how to be patient even in times when things are very uncertain and disturbed. That's one thing, and you are being resilient by doing that. And how you can also gain your positive sense of energy by doing all of these small things. For academics, yes, sometimes you may feel a little demotivated. What you need to do is set some goals to your day in terms of academics, what you want to do, and recognize what you can control in that aspect. Like whatever you want to study, आप उसको पढ़ो, breaks में ये सारी चीजें डालो, और फिर अपने खुद की self test करो to be able to just reinforce and give yourself self test, and that you're doing well, and then this is the next challenge and this is the next challenge, it'll help you to feel better. But also, this is the time when you have a lot of time to study outside of your subject matter. So try and do that. Be a bit more curious as a student. It'll increase your motivation level in that sense. So थोड़ा सा कुछ और आप पढ़ो अपने सब्जेक्ट मैटर से भी आगे निकल के, ये आपकी क्यूरियोसिटी को हेल्प करेगा बिल्ड करने में.
Final 2 questions. Poonam, Miss Poonam, your question. Poonam Waghela.
Hello, ma'am. Yes, hello, ma'am.
Yes, go
I
ahead.
am from Nagpur. I have a question that my daughter is in now 4th standard, and whenever I am saying her to convince her to do work on, always do work on maths and science, but she is not do that work. And she always irritated for that subject that, Mama, why are you saying me again and again, do it on these subjects? I don't want to do it now. And nowadays she is doing abacus. So with this abacus, I thought that she have to do simultaneously science study. So ma'am, tell me what I have to do for her.
Let her play a bit more, please. In case if she science, tell her, okay, कोई बात नहीं, जाओ साइंस पढ़ो गार्डन में जाके, या बाहर पत्तों को देखो, पेटल्स तोड़ो, फूल तोड़ो, वहां से साइंस पढ़ो अपनी. Let her do that.
This thing, madam.
But then that's wonderful. That's exactly what she needs to do, right?
But ma'am, I am belonging from joint family, so I couldn't suppress her about anything to do this. So whenever I am getting free with my work, so I'm saying her, please do this. So he's showing me boredom.
तो मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि बहुत बार एज पेरेंट्स हम क्या करते हैं कि जैसे हमें लगता है कि हमें कोई टाइम मिल रहा है, हम चाहते हैं कि उस टाइम में हम सब कुछ ड्रिल कर दे अपने बच्चे में, एंड दैट कम्स मोर ऑटोमेटिकली इन टर्म्स ऑफ एकेडमिक्स, because our focus goes so much more on learning that our communication ends up being more about academic हाँ, ये करा, ये नहीं करा, उस तरह का. मुझे लगता है as parents, where we need to go about as a change in the ongoing time that we are in, not even in ongoing time, I think the फोकस चली गई है, हमारा कॉन्वर्सेशन आउटसाइड ऑफ एकेडमिक्स बहुत ज्यादा कम हो गया है. I talk to so many young children and adolescents. Day in and day out, one thing that they've always said is that the first thing my parent asks me is about homework किया नहीं किया, ये पढ़ा कि नहीं पढ़ा, ये सब्जेक्ट किया कि नहीं किया, ट्यूशन पे टाइम से गए कि नहीं. वो इतना ज्यादा प्रिस्क्रिप्टिव और एकेडमिक ओरिएंटेड हो जाता है कि बच्चे को लगता है कि मतलब सिर्फ यही सवाल रह गए मेरी जिंदगी में, between me and my parent. So have more conversations about other things. I think that's going to be one thing that will really help children. जो हम कहते हैं ना बच्चे हमारी सुनते नहीं है, वो सुनेंगे, पर हमें उनको सुनने की पहले ज्यादा जरूरत है. We've become such bad listeners as parents. We've lost that ability to listen to our own children. That how can our children learn this then? Of course, they're going to learn the same thing. So have more conversations. Hear your children a lot more. And hear का मतलब ये नहीं है कि जो वो कह रहे हैं आपको वो फॉलो करना है. Hear का मतलब ये है कि जो भी वो बातें कर रहे हैं आप उसको थोड़ा ज्यादा सुने, समझने की कोशिश करें, अपने क्वेश्चंस पूछे उस कम्युनिकेशन को आगे बढ़ाने के लिए, अपनी क्यूरियोसिटी दिखाएं उस कम्युनिकेशन में. इसे कहते हैं लिसनिंग स्किल, और वो हमें अपनी पेरेंटिंग में लाने की बहुत ज्यादा जरूरत है.
तुलिका, सुमन पूछिए.
हेलो
फिर
मैम,
सुमन आप पूछ
सुमन
लीजिए, फिर उसके
from
बाद
तो
Hello,
मैम
ma'am. I am from
मैम
Bihar, Patna.
तुलिका जी आप रुक जाइए, सुमन आप पूछ लीजिए.
हाँ जी मैम, मेरी 11 years old की ओल्ड डॉटर है, तो मैं वो किसी की सुनना ही नहीं चाहती है, और 9 साल का बेटा है, तो वो सबकी मान लेता है, अगर शेयर करने के लिए चीजें कहें तो शेयर कर लेता है. लेकिन 11 ईयर जो मेरी डॉटर है वो बिल्कुल भी शेयर नहीं करना चाहती है, कभी करवा दें तो रोने लग जाएगी, मतलब पता नहीं. और जैसे बाथरूम में जाएगी तो 1 घंटा बाथरूम में ही बैठी रहेगी. उसको ये नहीं है कि चलो जल्दी से नहा लूं, मैं नहीं, पता नहीं क्यों क्या ही टाइम वेस्ट करने में उसको मजा आता है. काम करने को बोल लो तो मैम एकदम से गायब हो जाएगी, फिर वो नजर नहीं आना चाहेगी कि मुझे काम करना पड़ेगा, तो पकड़ के जबरदस्ती काम कराना पड़ता है. मैम 6th क्लास में हो गई है, सेल्फ स्टडी नहीं करना चाहती बिल्कुल भी. पता नहीं क्या। और मैं होम मेकर हूँ, मैं घर में पूरा ध्यान रखती हूँ, ऐसा नहीं है कि भाई मेरा फुल कंसंट्रेशन इन्हीं के ऊपर है, फिर भी वो कंट्रोल में नहीं आती है।
हमें कंट्रोल नहीं करना मैम, आप कंट्रोल मत करें, पहली चीज तो ये। दूसरा, मुझे लगता है कि अगर आप कंपेयर कर रहे हैं अपनी कम्युनिकेशन में किसी भी तरह से अपने दोनों बच्चों को, तो वो आपकी बेटी को और ज्यादा इरिटेट करेगा और वो और ज्यादा जो है चीजों को नहीं फॉलो करेगी। तो आप ये दूसरी चीज इंश्योर करें कि आपके कम्युनिकेशन में किसी भी तरह का कंपैरिजन आपके बेटे और आपकी बेटी के बीच में ना आ रहा हो, बिकॉज ही इज फॉलोइंग एंड शी इज नॉट फॉलोइंग। तीसरा, जो मैंने बात इससे पहले करी, अपना प्लीज कम्युनिकेशन आप बाकी चीजों में कुछ टाइम के लिए बढ़ाएं, एटलीस्ट उस चीज को 1 से 2 महीना दें, फिर उसके बाद आप उसकी बिहेवियर करेक्शन पर आए। एक एक चीज को एक एक टाइम पे लें, बहुत सारी चीजों को एक साथ ना करें। हमारे पेरेंट चाइल्ड इंटरेक्शन में यही हम जो है चीज जो है गलत कर देते हैं, तो उस चीज को आप थोड़ा सा ध्यान रखें।
मैम जैसे अगर हम वैसे बैठे हैं तो खूब बातें करती है, इकट्ठे हम टीवी देख रहे हैं, सब कुछ कर रहे हैं, लेकिन जैसे ही पढ़ाई का वो होता है ना कि बेटा आप थोड़ा काम कर लेते हैं, तो मैम फिर वो करना नहीं चाहती है। हालांकि जब मैं कराती हूँ उसको फिर लेके मुझे बैठना पड़ता है, फिर वो कर लेती है। वो रैबिट एंड टॉर्टोइस वाली स्टोरी में वो रैबिट है मैम, करने में वो फुल है, पूरा अच्छे से कर लेगी काम। लेकिन मैम मतलब ये है कि मैं काम ना करके उसके साथ ही बैठूंगी तो करेगी, वरना नहीं करेगी।
आप ना कुछ टाइम के लिए छोड़ दो, थोड़े टाइम के लिए, और
छोड़
उसका
दिया मैम, मैंने ये भी करके देखा मैम, बिल्कुल नहीं करती है काम, ही छोड़ देती है।
थोड़ा उसके साथ साथ थोड़ा थोड़ा गोल सेट कर दो उसके लिए, कि अपने आप से थोड़ा सा ये करके दिखाना। जिस दिन वो थोड़ा सा भी एक स्टेप पॉजिटिव तरीके से लेती है ना, उसको रीइंफोर्स करो, कि आप ये बोलो कि अरे मुझे तो बहुत अच्छा लगा आज आपने ये चीज करी। फिर उसके बाद जो है उसको उस चीज को 1 हफ्ता दो करने के लिए, फिर उसके बाद नया गोल सेट करो। हर बार ये भी नहीं कि एक एक गोल सेट हम हर रोज कर रहे हैं, अच्छा आज ये कर लिए चल कल ये कर लेना, नहीं, चीज को स्लोली स्टेडली स्टेप बाय स्टेप देना। नहीं तो बच्चे को लगता है कि आज मैंने थोड़ा अच्छा करके दिखाया, हम पेरेंट और एक्सपेक्ट कर रहा है, सो वो भी नहीं लगना चाहिए। यू नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड, कोई बार्गेन वाली चीज हो जाती है ना, चिल्ड्रन आर आल्सो स्मार्ट। धीरे धीरे एक एक चीज करके आप उसको करें, और कभी कभार उससे पूछे कि क्या चीज है जो वो डरती है जब वो पढ़ाई के बारे में आता है।
Yes, sir. My daughter is in standard 3 and 8 years old, but she don't want to study. When she read and write only when I sit with her. The moment I used to go, she also leave the study.
Hello.
She don't want to read in pandemic years, last year and this year also. I'm just fed up. Yes, ma'am. So what I do? She don't want to read and write. She was very good in study.
कितना अपनी डे टू डे रूटीन में अभी जो है वो खेल पाती है, थोड़ा सा बाहर जा पाती है, फिजिकल एक्सरसाइज कुछ हो पा रही है?
नो मैम, थोड़ा बहुत खेलना भी बहुत ही कम हो रहा है। एंड शी यूज्ड टू वॉच मोबाइल, यूट्यूब, प्रैंक वीडियोस एंड एक्सेट्रा।
सो यही एक रीजन है जिसकी वजह से बच्चों का लेवल ऑफ मोटिवेशन जो है पढ़ाई में थोड़ा और कम होता जा रहा है। देखिए समझे, बच्चों के लिए खेल एक फ्यूल है, जैसे हमारे लिए खाना और थोड़ी देर एक्स्ट्रा जो है रेस्ट करना कभी कभार हमारी बॉडी के लिए, हमारे माइंड के लिए फ्यूल होता है। बच्चों के लिए खेलना उनके लिए सबसे ज्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट चीज है, क्योंकि वो कम हो रही है, उनकी खुद की मेंटल एनर्जी बाकी चीजों में इन्वेस्ट करने के लिए कम हो रही है। तो अगर अभी वो नहीं पढ़ पा रही है, कुछ टाइम छोड़ दो। 2 दिन नहीं पढ़ेगी, 4 दिन नहीं करेगी, 5 दिन नहीं करेगी, 1 हफ्ता नहीं करेगी, उसके बाद बोलेगी अच्छा चलो मैं कुछ कर लेती हूँ, करेगी, अच्छी बात है। उसको बोला अरे मुझे तो बहुत अच्छा लगा आज आपने अपने आप से किया, उसके बाद छोड़ दो। 1 दिन फिर शायद ना करे, 2 दिन बाद फिर उठाए। कंसिस्टेंसी इन दिस टाइम पीरियड फॉर चिल्ड्रन टू हैव इज वेरी डिफिकल्ट। सो ऑन एंड ऑफ भी अगर वो चीजें कर रहे हैं उसको रीइंफोर्स करो आप, बस दैट्स इट।
ओके, थैंक यू मैम।
Amit, Mr. Amit.
Hello ma'am, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
मैम मेरे 2 बच्चे हैं, one is 11 years old, क्लास 6 में है, तो वो स्टडी वगैरह कर लेता है, अपना होमवर्क कर लेता है। अब क्योंकि बाहर नहीं जा पा रहे, घर पे ही रहना पड़ता है, तो मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम ही इज ऑन लैपटॉप। And the younger one is 4.5 years old. what happened when last year उसका first time होता है स्कूल जाता, वो जा नहीं पाया, इस साल भी नहीं जा पाया, तो his learning has gone down very low. बस अब वो ना he got addicted to mobile. जो स्कूल में टीचर पढ़ाती हैं उनका एक तरीका होता है जो कि हम नहीं कर पाते, कोशिश करते हैं तब भी नहीं कर पा रहे, इसकी लर्निंग बहुत बैकवर्ड चली गई है और मोबाइल में व्यूइंग बहुत ज्यादा हो गए, हम समझ में नहीं आ रहा कि what are we supposed to do.
So I mean again the same thing, मतलब मुझे लगता है कि हमारी लर्निंग जो है बच्चों की जो इसी टाइम पे हो रही है उसको हमें कन्वेंशनल तरीके से नहीं देख सकते अभी। जैसे बच्चे अपने नॉर्मल स्कूल में जिस तरह से लर्निंग कर रहे थे वो इस टाइम पे नहीं हो सकती। We don't have that kind of system, and even across the globe children are facing that problem. We just have to adapt to it. We just need to be okay with it. We need to recognize this is transient. Maybe a couple of more months this would require for us to be patient about. But apart from that, please ensure अगर घर पे, मतलब मैं जब से पैंडेमिक स्टार्ट हुआ है मैं बार बार यही चीज कर रही हूँ, अपने घर को थोड़ा चाइल्ड फ्रेंडली बना लो आप, वो सबसे ज्यादा जरूरी है। थोड़े आर्टिफैक्ट्स अंदर रख दो, शो पीसेस अंदर रख दो, वैसे किसी से मिलना तो है नहीं। अपने सोफेज को हटा दो, थोड़ा सा जगह बना दो कि जहाँ बच्चे थोड़ा सा खेल कूद कर पाए, बिकॉज बच्चों के लिए फिजिकल एनर्जी जो अभी नहीं स्पेंड हो रही is the most thing that is impacting them right now, and they need to have that physical sense of energy. So whether you do it along with them, you ask them to do it, you let them jump around, let them dirty a few bed sheets, that's okay, but you ensure that they do some physical exercise and some physical play in their day to day. That's very important. And screen time, let the worry be right now. As long as he's engaged, as long as he's also having some interaction with peers, friends, that's very important, cousins, grandparents, that's very important. And whatever learning that they can do. So अगर वो screen time पे भी कर रहे हैं, कभी कभार show them something different, something that's of their interest. So for example, if your child is interested in science, encourage him to look at different things. So आप कोई conversation अपनी teaching moment की जगह से pick करो. Just say, for example, like yesterday when I was talking to my child about this, my daughter about this beehive as a story just to understand and make sense of the pandemic. But from there, we actually went up to talk about how does bee actually take honey up. And then she went on Google to just read more about honeys and beehives and how it is extracted and things like that. So अपने आप में एक अलग सी तरह की educational learning process बन गया. ये चीज include करने की जरूरत है. बच्चे टेक्स्ट बुक नहीं पढ़ रहे, कोई बात नहीं. We let it be.
But still, as a parent, now worrisome हो जाता है when they sit for 7 hours, 6 hours in mobile.
So इसीलिए कुछ टाइम आप ये करें कि in between उनको ब्रेक्स लेना बहुत जरूरी है, because उनकी आई साइट के लिए भी it's very important. And जो भी आप चीजें जो है आप फॉलो कर सकते हैं in terms of putting ear drops, giving them enough breaks, that's very important. So in those time periods, you also come together as a parent. मुझे लगता है कि मेरा स्ट्रेस बस्टर होता है जब मैं अपने बच्चे के साथ थोड़ी देर खेल लेती हूँ, तो वो आप करें प्लीज. चाहे आप कार्ड्स, नए गेम्स मंगाएं और बोले कि चल अच्छा क्या इंटरेस्ट में हम दोनों खेलेंगे, चेस खेलते हैं, कोई और कार्ड गेम खेलते हैं, कोई और बोर्ड गेम्स खेलते हैं. आप पजल्स मंगा लीजिए, 500-700 pieces puzzle together, do it at some point in time in between common breaks, come together, tell them let's do 5-minute break of finding some more pieces in the puzzle. These are ways of how we just create more engaging ways to stimulate a child's mind.
Okay, ma'am, we'll try.
Thank you everyone. Thank you, Mimaansha. We have a few other questions, but I will request that we will invite Mimaansha once more, because I don't know, questions suddenly are now starting to increase, if I may say, right? So Monica, Devakar, Navneet, Aradhna, Renu and Shweta, since we are not able to take up your question because completely out of time, I have another assignment to be taken up, and same with Mimaansha, I'm sure she has to be somewhere else. Thank you very much everyone who was part of this conversation with us. हम लोग मीमांशा को दोबारा से एक बार बुला लेंगे, ऐसी बात नहीं है. And having said this, she is gracious enough that she will join us later as well. For now, thank you very much. Take care of yourself. Stay safe. And whatever I think she said today was fabulous, so natural, if I may say, and very practical. So thank you very much, Mimaansha, once again, and take care of yourself, and we hope to see you soon. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Take care, everyone.